social loving, yes. And principalities and powers, them planning war on the hour, yes. And spiritual wickedness in a high places. I saw the children cry, I saw the children die. I saw
Yes, welcome to another edition of Wise Lions Studios. This is Ross Chris again. Gonna be discussing another subject, and it's a subject related to living a more conscious life, and it's the need for reading. A lot of us tend to have the tendency to think that once we are done with school, some of us have had the opportunity to go for higher studies. Some of us were only able maybe to go up to high school level, maybe some lower than that. But the reality of the issue is that even those who've been able to access higher education, there is an element that once you leave school, you leave the books behind. And the gold mines are in the books. To live a more conscious life, a more fulfilling life, people need to study. And I'm talking about studying all kind of books. We have our religious books, the Bible, the Vedas, the Quran, and many more others from different religions. So to have a more fulfilling life, let's always remember to read the books of the wise, the spiritual books. Those are really important books to read. Then we also have books on personal development, improving our finances, improving our relationships, books on learning how to grow vegetables in the garden. And at one time I also said, if you don't go to the garden, you might end up going to the pharmacy. So those are books that need to be read, books on sports. Sometimes we're just reading for leisure. It's really important that we read. I've really noticed that people who are doing extremely well always remember to look for books to read. It's extremely crucial that we do get books and create time to read. And we need a constant reminder to make sure that we are reading. The survey was done and it was discovered that on average, people all over the world read less than 12 books a year. That's a problem. Even in the developed world, reading is not, uh, people are not reading the way they're supposed to be reading. So we constantly have to remind ourselves. Probably might need to put a list and remind yourself how many books have you read for the year. On average, try to make at least 2 books a month. That would be really good. I think you'll be in the top 1% because a lot of people are not reading. And if you discover the most prosperous people, they have the habit of reading. I have one of my mentors who reads on average 6 hours every day. These people are doing extremely well and changing the world. So we constantly have to remind ourselves to read. And sometimes probably you might say, I don't have time to read. Then we are lucky because we now have technology. We have technology. You can listen to the books. There are a lot of books, free books to listen to on YouTube and other platforms. So you don't necessarily have to read. You can listen to a book and you can develop a lot of wisdom. We need wisdom, especially this time. It's a difficult time. We need a lot of wisdom to live a more meaningful life. And also, books are crucial in alleviating suffering. We don't want to keep suffering in the world. We are trying to live a better life, a more fulfilling life. And it's always a search for happiness. Always remember that. If you read books, then books can really help you in very many ways to alleviate suffering. We are aspiring to live a more happy and fulfilling life. So those are some of the things and the tenets that I find that are extremely crucial when it comes to this issue of reading. So these are basically small nuggets from me, your reverend, to you, just reminding you that reading is extremely crucial. We can all create time to read. Read. And same thing, we have to cultivate a culture of reading for our kids. I know some of the kids don't like reading, they would rather be playing, but we still have to push them towards developing a culture of reading. It's extremely crucial that they read. For children, try to encourage them to read 30 minutes a day. I know their attention span is a bit on the lower side, but if we can encourage them, they can have and develop a culture of reading. It's extremely crucial that we uh, direct our kids towards reading. Reading is extremely important. And if you are reading, then there is a higher chance also that the children will see what you're doing. And action are better than words when it comes to this issue of reading. If you're reading, then you'll be able to set an example for the kids to also read. It's extremely important that we develop this culture. I cannot emphasize more than I have already. And I might keep repeating the need for reading. It's extremely crucial. A lot of mistakes in life could have been alleviated if we constantly read. Suffering, mistakes in relationships, mistakes in finance, mistakes in living a more humble life could all have been alleviated if we constantly seek to read and to sharpen our minds. There are a lot of sharp and brilliant people who've written a lot of books, and this is really important that we always have to remember the need and the essence of reading. We always constantly forget that we need to constantly read. It's extremely important that we read. So please remind yourself constantly, try to get at least to start a book a month. And some of you might say, oh, I don't have the money to buy the books. Well, you can do something about it. You can create book clubs where you buy one book each and you exchange the books. There are libraries also you can go and borrow. You might have also in the library the book that you want, and maybe you're not finding it in the library. Always talk to the librarian to see if you can get the books. So we constantly have to endeavor, wherever we are, to look for books and to read books. It's extremely crucial that we read and constantly read. So this is something I just thought about today. A big emphasis on what I consider really essential and important, that we constantly read and remind our kids to read. That's all I had for today. Live a more life where you read, a reading life. Sharpen your brains, sharpen your minds. This is the Reverend again, Ras Chris from Wisemen Studios. Bye bye. Have a decent Saturday evening.
Well, every tree says